The lieutenant colonel said the rest of them would be coming along soon. The mission was almost over. The three vehicles began racing back to base through streets, now alive with gunfire and explosions. This time, Strucker knew which way to go. He had mapped a return route that was simple. Several blocks over was National Street. They could follow that all the way back down to the K4 traffic circle, and from there, they would bear right back to the beach. Except things had gotten a lot worse. Roadblocks and barricades began to appear. They drove around and through them. One of the medics, Private Good, was holding up the IV bag for Blackburn with one hand, while shooting his Car 15 with the other. Up in Strucker's Humvee, Turret Gunner Paulson was frantically trying to swivel his .50 cal to engage shooters firing from both sides. So Strucker instructed his M60 gunner, Pilla, to concentrate all his fire to the right and leave everything on the left to Paulson. They didn't want to drive too fast because a violently bumpy ride couldn't do Blackburn any good. Pilla was shot as they turned on National. He was killed instantly. The bullet entered his forehead, and the exit wound blew out the back of his skull. His body flopped over into the lap of Moynihan, who cried out in horror, covered with his friend's blood and brain.
"Pilla's hit!"
He screamed. Just then over the radio came the voice of Sergeant Gallagher.
"How are things going?"
Strucker ignored the radio and shouted back over his shoulder at Moynihan.
"Calm down. What's wrong with him?"
He couldn't see all the way to the back hatch.
"He's dead!"
Moynihan was freaking out.
"How do you know he's dead? Are you a medic?"
Strucker turned for a quick look over his shoulder, and the whole rear of his vehicle was covered with blood. Pilla was in Moynihan's lap.
"He's shot in the head. He's dead."
"Just calm down."
Strucker pleaded.
"We've got to keep fighting until we get back."
To hell with driving carefully. Strucker told his driver to step on it and hoped Eswine would follow. He could see RPGs flying across the street now. It seemed like the whole city was shooting at them. Then Gallagher's voice came across again.
"How's it going?"
"I don't want to talk about it."
Gallagher didn't like that answer.
"You got any casualties?"
"Yeah, one."
Strucker tried to leave it at that. Nobody on their side had gotten killed, so far as he knew, and he didn't want to be the one to put news like that on the air. He knew radio operators all over the battlefield could hear their conversation. There were speaker boxes in some of the vehicles, and the birds could all listen in. The radio operators on the ground monitored all the bands. Men in battle drink up information like water. It becomes more important than water. Unlike most of these guys, Strucker had been to war before, in Panama and the Persian Gulf, and he knew soldiers fought better when things were going their way. Once things turned, it was hard to reassert control. People panicked. It was happening to Moynihan right now. Panic was a virus in combat, a deadly one.
"Who is he and what's his status?"
Gallagher demanded.
"It's Pilla."
"What's his status?"
Strucker held the microphone for a moment, debating with himself, and then reluctantly answered.
"He's dead."
At the sound of that word, all the radio traffic, which was busy, stopped. Long seconds of silence followed.